Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. The show where, just like you, we can't get enough sports.
The 47-year wait is over! And the Nuggets win it! Wilson throwing, it's up for grabs, and it's caught for the touchdown! And the Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50. To the Avalanche are 2022 Stanley Cup champions! And a shot into the back of the net for Diego Rubio!
Now here's your hosts, Arthur Knight and Larry Perkins.
They are champions!
Yo. Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. It is March 9th, 2025, and we are coming to you live from Sohai Cafe, 4300 West Alameda, here in Denver, Colorado. And with me, as always, is Mr. LP Larry Perkins, wearing the Lakers toilet paper wrapped around his head and chest.
That golden glow.
I wouldn't use that term personally, but that's okay.
This is not yellow glow.
That's not much better. That's not much better, or worse, I guess.
I'm back, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
You know, I got some.
Got some what?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm tired.
Tired.
Yeah, that I mean, we was robbed for 1 hour with this whole daylight.
Oh, come on, man. How old are you?
According to that,
This ain't high school.
Yeah, according to that, I was here at 6.
Well, I still could have used that extra hour.
Okay, fair enough. Don't let me stop you from getting your extra hour.
Exactly.
We are being brought to you by INV Vision. INV Vision is an optometry office that provides comprehensive eye exams and medically focused eye exams in Aurora, Colorado and surrounding areas. Their team members and leadership team include diverse individuals with years of experience. Their goal is to strive for the highest quality of professional and personalized care. They are from the community for the community. INV is in Aurora of 700 South Buckley Road, Unit K. It is just off of Alameda and Airport. Go by and see him. Tell Bryson the Sportz Phenz sent you. INV Vision, we see you. All right.
Now we're talking.
All right. So we got a lot to get to, man. You want to start with football? Let's start with football. Basketball is going to take up way too much time, and every time we start talking about basketball, basically we use the entire show.
Well, that's the sports that keeps giving, right?
Well, I mean, I do love basketball. I can't front on that.
Shoot, I like. Anyways, yeah, we can.
All right, let's start with this fumbling, bumbling, stupidity trade that your team made. The Raiders traded for Geno Smith, and hey. I mean, I guess you don't need any third-round picks.
Actually,
once you get your all-star quarterback in Geno Smith.
I'm
just saying, man, how do you get a third-round pick for a 34-year-old backup quarterback?
I should have sent emojis when I sent you that, like hateful, like fuming emoji. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I like, really? So you know that we're not going to look for a quarterback in the draft, right?
Right. So I'm wondering what they are going to draft. Okay, so this could go down. I was saying this just the other day. This could go down as the most ingenious, or it's going to go down as the most blunder. I still think you overpaid for a 34-year-old quarterback, but here. Let me play devil's advocate here, and let me
you
give
do that good.
Let me give a pro for why the Raiders did what they did. Okay. They clearly do not see that either Shedeur Sanders or any other quarterback passed the number one overall in what's that boy's name?
Cam Ward.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So they clearly do not see another first round quarterback after him. Okay, or at least the Raiders don't. And if you are going to use that first round to get like a wide receiver, running back, offensive lineman, because you already have your tight end, you just locked down your pass rusher, right? So they could go defensive line. They could go linebacker. I mean, there's so many things that they could do. They could trade back. But I see the point of having Geno Smith as opposed to just signing one of the quarterbacks that are going to be in the market because he's already been in the system, right? So you don't have to train him on that. They're probably not going to draft a quarterback in the first round. Any quarterback that they get is going to be sitting behind Geno, right?
Right.
Or you can draft a Shedeur Sanders or somebody in that position and have him sit behind
Why
Geno.
give up a third-round pick if that's the case?
Well, yeah. Why give up the third round? I still have not wrapped my mind around that.
But
so they probably, you're right, they're probably not going to.
I think the Michigan Will Campbell's a big D-line. I mean, he's pretty good. I think they're going to go that route. I mean, it don't make no sense for them to draft a quarterback.
Well, this just messed up your whole mock draft, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm kind of like. I try to.
I mean, not just you. That's everybody's mock draft, man. Like,
I'm still trying to find a light. I mean, you better than me. You found a silver lining. I'm trying. Only thing I can think of.
Well, I mean, if you can get a quarterback in the second or third, well, you won't have a third round pick, but if you can get a quarterback in the second round, let's say Shedeur does fall to them in the second round. Okay, I mean. You get the quarterback that you could have gotten in the first round in the second round for less money, and you can justify sitting him for a year or two behind Geno Smith.
Right.
Because Geno Smith, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to disrespect the man. I mean, his last 2 years in Seattle under Pete Carroll's tutelage, he had the 2 best years of his career.
Exactly.
Like he did.
And
made the Pro Bowl, right? I mean...
Well, the thing is, we know now that I'm finna say Oakland. We know that the Las Vegas Raiders, they have a short-term plan with Coach Carroll, and I'm saying around about 2 to 5 years, and that's it. Maybe.
Okay.
So I don't right now. I'm just looking at the short term with this team. What can we do? Because obviously we're not looking towards the future. So.
Well, no, to a certain extent they are. That was my point, is if you can put a stopgap in a Geno Smith, you don't have to get your quarterback this year. You can see, okay, I was making this analogy or this comparison, I should say, to the Denver Broncos when they were trying to court Peyton Manning, okay? The reason why Peyton Manning came here is because the Broncos the year before had spent most of their equity on pieces to go around mediocre quarterbacks, okay? Wide receivers,
right.
Eddie Mack, excuse me, not Eddie Mack. Who am I trying to think of? Decker. I'm mixing up my decades. But anyways, they had Decker. They had our boy, rest in peace. This is driving me nuts. I'm having and he's my boy too. Love him to death, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. But anyways, they had pieces around. They had a couple of good, serviceable running backs. They had the tight ends. They had the defense, the no-fly zone, right? They had put all of the pieces in place, and that was what attracted Peyton Manning to come here. It wasn't that Denver was the best option for him, like location-wise or anything of that magnitude. It was just literally it made sense.
It did help he played in Indianapolis. You know what I'm saying? A small town atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? So
it did, but he literally could have went to several places at that time, like San Diego, now Los Angeles, but San Diego at the time. There were a couple of different places that he could have went.
And he chose Denver because of how their setup was.
Because they were closest to, you know what I'm saying? They had put all these pieces around mediocre quarterbacks that couldn't get it done. And now there's all of these pieces, there's this shiny new Corvette, and there was just nobody to drive it, and they were able to get Peyton Manning to come in and drive that vet.
Now we have a mediocre quarterback that's surrounded by no talent.
Yeah, but that's a start. I mean, like I said, I got to give him credit the past couple of years. Geno Smith has thrived in the current system that Pete Carroll runs. Pete Carroll basically took his staff from Seattle to Las Vegas, and he's a stopgap. Like I said, they either don't see the quarterback of the future in this draft, or they're hoping that one of those quarterbacks will fall to them in the second. That's why they were willing to give up a third to get this quarterback. But, you know, let's say in the next, you get 2 years out of Geno Smith, you still have 2 years to draft your guy. You feel me?
Right.
Like, if they don't feel like they have their guy in this draft, they have 2 years to figure it out. At least 2 years. I would say Geno Smith is probably...
I'm not going to say
they do need to work on that offensive line, though, if they want the Geno Smith project to work, period.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, but in order for you to run with a rookie quarterback like the Broncos did, the Broncos had to upgrade significantly on their offensive line as well to protect Bo Nix. So when you do get that guy, you're going to want to make sure that you have those pieces already in place.
But see, the thing, this draft this year is like you have a plethora of O linemen, D linemen. It's basically, you know, so
It's a pick your poison.
I mean, we can get a top notch one in the first round and a decent one. You know, we can go O line like I was saying, and then D line. You know, D linemen in the second round since we don't have a third round.
Well, you already have your tight end. I would say in the first round, I would go for like a piece, like a wide receiver, running back. I mean, because you just said the depth of the offensive and defensive line prospects coming out of this draft.
I mean, we can get like a real like I was saying, Will Campbell. You know, that guy right there. He's like, he's great. I mean, we can get him, or we can, like you said, we can go for Tataro. You know, from you know, he's a pretty good wide receiver.
Okay.
And then we can go for, in the second round, you know,
offensive line. Go for the meat and potatoes. Offensive line or defensive line, but best on the board, obviously. But this does give a little bit of a veiled look at what the Raiders are trying to do, because it's very confusing. It's very confusing. It's like, on one hand, I just gave you a reason why they would do this, you know what I'm saying, and smartly so, you know, or wisely so. But on the other hand, it's just like a third round pick, though. Did you really? Seattle valued him so much that you were willing, or Pete Carroll values him so much that you're willing to give a third round. Now, the only thing that I don't know is, do they trade away? Here, let me look into this really quick, because what I'm wondering is,
but the thing is,
did they have an extra third round pick in the pocket somewhere?
No.
You don't think so?
The original trade was 6th rounder, Max Crosby, and the Raiders, they shut that down immediately. They said, we're not giving up. They actually extended Max, so, you know, but
okay.
A weird trade whatsoever. But yeah,
all right, so the Raiders, will still have a full draft haul. Okay, so they had another third round pick in the pocket. So I don't even think they traded away their pick. They traded away another pick, like a third round pick, like a pick that they traded for. It was somebody else's pick.
Still, it's a third round.
Because they have the round 1 pick, you know, pick 6, round 2, pick 37, round 3, pick 68. Those are all their picks. So that's actually not looking so dumb now that I've done the deep dive, and that's actually looking kind of smart. Especially if you don't feel like you're going to get the quarterback that you want.
Well, Andrew, that's understandable, but still, you could have used that extra third round pick to get an extra lineman.
Yeah, but you can only have so many people on your roster too, man. There's a salary cap. It's a 52-man roster. I mean, you're gonna draft a third round pick guy to put him on your practice squad?
No. Can just give
that's what you would have to do, my guy. Like, honestly, there's only 52 players that get to be suited and booted on Sunday. They already have a pick in the first 4 rounds. high picks in the first 4 rounds, and they have a pick in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round as well.
Right, but the thing is you cannot have too many, valuable picks. You could,
Well, I mean, I see your point if you're trying to rebuild a team like they are.
We need our line built like yesterday.
I think you're going to be able to do that. I think with your round 1 pick, your round 2 pick, and your round 3 pick, they're going to get some good quality guys out of that.
I didn't know that we had that extra one.
Yeah.
So, we still can get, but still, I'm just being greedy right now. But
yeah, that sounds like it, because I don't with that extra 3rd round pick, I don't see are you going to get a quarterback like you did with Geno with that? I mean, at first I was really boggled to why they would I still don't think they should have given up a 3rd. They had a 4th round pick to give. Obviously, they didn't have an extra 4th round. But to your point, I would have rather them give that 4th round and then have the 2-3.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They didn't want no 4th round pick.
I mean, beggars can't be choosers. It's not like Geno Smith was setting the world on fire. I mean, they did have 10 wins last year.
Yeah.
Under a whole new coach. Like, he didn't play under the current coach that he's going to be playing under. He didn't play under him.
He had a great year, though.
He did. He had a really good year. He had a Pro Bowl year. And they won 10 games and didn't make the playoffs. And obviously, Geno Smith is not the coach of Seattle. That's not his guy. And anytime a new regime takes over, there's this bridging period. There's this honeymoon period, really.
Right.
And, I don't think that coach was like, Geno's my guy, But obviously, Pete Carroll values him.
That's why they didn't, because he had a year left on his contract, but I guess the talking point, was about 10 mil difference. It was like 10 million apart, so.
Oh, okay, so they traded the 3rd round pick that they got for Devontae Adams. So basically, they traded Devontae Adams for Geno Smith, essentially.
Wow. I think he's a free agent too, Adams.
They did. I think the Jets did cut him.
Yeah.
Nobody was going to trade for him, so I think the Jets had to cut him.
Yep.
Jets are having a fire sale right now. But speaking of players that got cut, there would be a perfect fit, in my humble opinion, that just got cut from the Jaguars, an Ingram, that the Broncos, I think, should target hard, go after this guy.
I mean, they doing an overhaul too, though. Because I'm like, Ingram's good.
Yeah.
So, but then you said
they're retooling there in Jacksonville, trying to put different pieces around their quarterback.
It's going to be a lot of teams. The Titans, the Jaguars, the Panthers. All these teams is going to be retooling,
No, facts. But the reason why I like this guy for the Broncos is because he's a two-way. He blocks and he can catch. Yep. But more importantly, he can block. He's going to be that guy that sets the edge.
He's not going to be.
And the Broncos don't need him to be a pass catcher, though. They only need him to be a pass catcher in certain situations.
Right. So
excuse me.
So the other thing to look at is Philly, the champions, because they only can franchise tag how many? Because they got a couple of defensive ends that's going to be up for signing. So
that's always the problem when you reach the mountaintop, man. You have all of these players that develop
poaching,
yeah. They develop into great players. They help you win a championship, and then
taken away.
Well, I mean that's the nature of the beast.
I mean, ask KC.
Ask any team
that has a sustained run. They players poached every year.
Ask any team, man, especially when you're trying to retool and revamp your entire squad, man. Well, because you have to when you win, you have to revamp. We saw this year it eventually caught up with KC, even though they, had this stellar regular season record. We all knew that it was a flash in the pan. Like, the only people that didn't know that were the people in Kansas City. and they finally hit that wall, especially financially. Like you needed those weapons around,
I remember during the year when they played the Raiders and they played your Broncos, and we was all talking about this. You know, like, man,
they barely won.
It took the last game of the year for everybody to see what we've been talking about all this time.
Man, exactly.
It wasn't no refs on their side. I mean, they was getting blown out. The refs couldn't do nothing about it. It's like, look, hey, if it was close, we got you, but you down by like 20, 30 points. We can't do anything.
Well, and that's the thing is where in those games where KC used to blow our teams out, they weren't able to do that. Number one, the defenses for Las Vegas, Denver, and Los Angeles have significantly gotten better. Even though Los Angeles just released Bosa, that was another target that I wanted the Broncos to go after, is get Bosa. I mean, he's going to be a high price tag.
That's what I was going to say.
He's going to be a high price tag, but this is the better year. Like last year was where they had the most money tied up because of the Russell Wilson BS. But this year they have a lot more money to work with. They still have a quarterback that's playing well on a rookie deal. Those two players that I just mentioned, Ingram and Bosa, would be fitting pieces. Like, because then you would have Bosa on one side and you'd have our boy Benito on the other side. You get him signed. I'm pretty sure there's enough money to do all three. Don't quote me on that. I haven't had a chance to go through all of the contracts and all of that stuff yet and look at the numbers. But once I do, I truly do believe that they could sign all three of those players and still be okay. This would also mean that, yes, Denver fan, we're going to have to suffer through keeping with the same running back room and wide receiver room. Like, that's just, it is what it is. But that beefs up. Bosa gives you a double team on one side but you got to pick your poison on that. You either are going to take out Benito or you have to take out Bosa, right? This also gives them a chance to move a couple of outside linebackers that normally play inside back to the inside. But I could see them doing all three of them moves, or at least Ingram, and re-sign Benito for sure. Like, you got to make those moves, like, period.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I'm just looking at free agency, coming up and stuff. The whole Debo. I was surprised the Debo Samuel, deal. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, we got to keep watching because everybody was saying that Myles Garrett was going to leave the Browns. That he wanted to go to a team that, could win. He's getting in his twilight years. He's still in his prime, but he's at his prime. He's not going up. He's going to start declining here soon, or he'll plateau for a little bit and then start declining. But according to Yahoo Sports, Myles Garrett and Browns agree on a contract extension to make him highest paid non-QB in NFL history. Let me scroll down and let me see if they've got the numbers in here.
Okay.
So what do you think about that? Because the in the news, it's been Myles Garrett is unhappy. Myles Garrett wants out, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, the thing is, he's going to secure the bag, which he did. And he's still probably unhappy, But
well, I mean, yeah, he's not going to turn down the money.
Exactly. That's what people was talking about. But anyway,
so they have agreed. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just think that it's still going to be the same old. He's going to get his bag, and he probably get demand a trade after next season or something like that. That's what usually happens.
Yeah, no, I agree. The two sides have agreed on a contract extension that will pay the defensive end an average annual salary of $40 million over 4 years, and includes $123.5 million in guaranteed money. That's according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. So take that for what it's worth.
Get that money.
Oh, he getting that bag. He getting that bag, my guy. that's going to happen.
Yeah, but I'm just very curious to see other moves my team will be making.
Well, I honestly thought they would, when Myles Garrett got cut, that they would go after him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And who's to say that the Raiders don't trade a their first 6th overall pick or whatever, their first round 6th overall pick to a team to get, another piece to counter Crosby. You know what I'm saying? Because Crosby now, he is going to be double teamed. He's a beast though. I can't even front. Crosby, you could triple team that dude. He's still going to get your quarterback. Like real talk. I can't stand that guy, but I respect him. It's kind of like, Kobe or MJ or,
he remind me of Howie Long. Remember Howie Long?
Yeah. Used to hate that guy too. But I respect him. You know what I mean? Like he used to harass John Elway and stuff, man. Like he used to harass him. But then John Elway was the bane of y'all's existence for several years too. You know what I'm saying? So
daggers.
So you know exactly what I mean when I say I hate that guy, but I respect that guy. Like he used to, beat my team like a drum. And that's one guy on your team that the Raiders had to sign. That dude wanted to be a lifelong Raider. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to have to leave. And he would have been able to sign to any team. And the last team that you wanted him to go to was KC or Denver.
Right.
Especially in free agency. Like the last thing you wanted was to allow him to go to one of his, one of your rivals.
If they,
And then he's got a Raider tattoo on his arm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. That's weird to me. But hey, you do you, boo boo. You do you, my guy. I don't know if I would have done that, but
I know he got that. Can I say tramp stamp?
Is that an NFL version of a tramp stamp?
It is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I was not aware of.
Not my team, no. They're not a tramp.
Oh, okay.
See there.
I don't believe that. I think y'all just hoed yourself for a 3rd round pick.
Touche.
I really.
Segue.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some NBA, man. My Nuggets lost today by 20 points, even though it was a close game all the way up until the end. I do believe there was a bit of dirty pool. Especially by Mr. Hartenstein. To me, I saw the play. I kept rewinding it because, I record every game. Mm-hmm. I kept rewinding it, and this man literally pulled Jokic to the ground. Now, I don't think he knew Jokic was going to get hurt, but I think he wanted to hurt him. Like, he wanted to send a message.
Like that.
And it changed the whole face of the game. The Nuggets were actually playing really, really well and winning. And then all of a sudden, Jokic can't shoot free throws. Jokic can't shoot 3-pointers. Jokic can't shoot his normal shots. And the tide turned. In that very moment. But I also think that that's exactly what Hartenstein was going for. And nobody can convince me otherwise because I literally, like I said, I rewound and watched it over and over and over again before I came in. And that should have been a flagrant foul, but the problem is when he pulled him, just the closeness of their bodies, there was no referee within sight line, you know what I'm saying, or line of sight, to see the actual jerk motion he did to pull Jokic to the ground. And that's why Jokic was like, on the ground, like, what the hell was that? And landed straight on his elbow. Hopefully that does not affect him long term. But it did affect him in this game.
Yeah,
it affected him in this game.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate that they felt.
Everybody, they're gonna need every person. The West is so stacked. The West is so congested.
Right.
And even the Lakers losing yesterday to Boston, and losing LeBron as well for a couple of weeks is right now that's just health for me because I already even though now we're in the second place because Denver just lost, by half a game. But still, I'm not even worried about the second seed.
And that's what's frustrating about the loss today for the Nuggets is that when that and we actually go up a half a game as opposed to being tied. But they lost today.
Y'all would have actually had a full game if y'all would have won.
I think it would have been a full game.
A full game.
Yeah.
But
so, and then having a full game lead over the Lakers going into playing them within the next two.
We play them twice. We play you guys twice.
Right.
Next week we play you guys after we have our back-to-back with Milwaukee. So that's going to be a tough. We got 3 in the next couple of weeks. We have 3 back-to-back.
Well, it's time to show and prove to see if that trade for Luka Doncic.
Yeah. You make that trade anytime.
Well, I'm not even going to disagree with that. You do take that trade, especially if you're the Lakers. You take that trade.
It's still crazy to hear about how, the GM's like, Rob was like, are you serious? Are you serious right now?
There's a meme going around that I saw on Facebook. Was it yesterday or the day before? Or actually, I think my friend, Mark. So Mark, I think it was Mark or my friend Lucas that sent it to me through Facebook. Said, no, it was Mark. Now I know definitively it was Mark. But Mark was like, "Is this real?" He was asking me, "Is this real?" And it showed the GM of Dallas being fired because he secretly works for the Lakers. And I thought that was hilarious.
And the thing is, it wasn't even Nico. You know what I'm saying? It was the ownership. The ownership wanted that for some reason. I don't know why. They worth like $54 billion.
Oh, they probably were like, they were probably saying, we want you to lose some weight and we're tired of you. And he was like, "Nah, I'm not. I'm still dropping 50 burgers on him.
Give me a fat Luka any day, bro." I'm just like, shoot. But
here's the thing, though: a fat Luka can't carry a team. That's been proven even when he was in Dallas. That's why Dallas went out and got Kyrie, right? The reason why they went out and got him is so that he could be, Batman and have LeBron, use the last bit of LeBron that they can as his Robin. And with LeBron being out for a couple of weeks, man, and you do have to play top teams in the West during that time.
Our schedule is brutal.
It is. You've had a pretty easy schedule to up to the break. And now your schedule has flipped. Just like the Nuggets had a tough first half, and now they have an easier second half, and they're not taking advantage of it. And to be completely honest, I'm getting pissed. But today's game, I just chalk it up to being flukish. I think that Oklahoma City, Hartenstein from Oklahoma City, he didn't like the fact that he was backup here. He's been a backup everywhere. He was kind of a starter in New York, but they used him as a starter. It is what it is. But the fact of the matter is that he that was a dirty ass play. That was a dirty play, and he did it on purpose. You can tell, especially if you rewind it. And it is what it is. Hopefully, it just doesn't mess up the Nuggets too much. Christian Brown went off today. That dude should be creeping up on most improved player. He went from 7 points to averaging somewhere like 17. But it's not just that. Like his 3-point percentage went up. His field goal percentage is up. He also plays defense against the 1 and 2 best scorers. Like he played against SGA all day today. Now, granted, SGA still scored 40+ points, but but he didn't score all of those on Christian Brown.
He gave him the majority of that work, though.
No. Actually, a lot of his points came when he was guarded by Jamal Murray. A lot of his points came when he was guarded by like Pickett or smaller guards. That's where a lot of his points came from. When they had Brown on him, he had to pass the ball significantly if you go and watch the game. Okay. Like Brown has to rest. Brown can't, when they do the switch, he can't always guard SGA, but when he was on SGA, he was putting it on him. But SGA, like I said, I know he scored 40+ points, but that's not all on Braun. He probably scored about 4 points on Braun.
So do you feel
or Brown?
Brown. It's just Brown. It seems pronounced. It seems like Braun. You know what I'm saying? But it's Brown.
Yeah, it's Brown.
It's weird.
And I keep saying Braun.
I mean,
I love that kid, so I got to start respecting, putting some spect on his name. It's Brown. It's Brown. My bad. My guy.
So you feel the Nuggets did make the right decision by letting KCP go?
Well, I mean, look at Orlando.
Because at first,
look at Orlando. Orlando's got 30 wins. 30 wins. The Nuggets have 41. And not only has Christian Brown, was he the right decision, he also, his 3-point percentage, like I said, all his numbers went up from his previous 2 years. But also his numbers this year are better than both years, or through the 3 years we had KCP here in Denver. So it's not that KCP wasn't a vital piece, and KCP probably showed
he brought
Brown
you that
the
pedigree.
road.
He brought you that championship.
He did.
But I think it was the right move for you. At first, I was like, well, KCP, but see this guy.
At first,
play
I was
now,
worried too.
Seeing him play now, his maturation has. He arrived.
He stepped in. This kid has a pedigree. Don't get it twisted. This kid has won on every level, and some try to argue like, well, he only won on in the NBA because of Jokic and Murray, and it's like, no, he was an intricate part of winning that all of the series that the Nuggets had to win, in their 16-game win to the finals and winning.
Yeah.
He was an intricate part of that, and he's showing it. He's showing improving this year. I still think he's not going to get most improved player. I think it's going to go to Cunningham in Detroit. But to me,
I mean, I think most improved. Me personally, I think the most improved player should go to the player that actually elevates his team, because right now Detroit is like bad.
Well, I mean, Detroit was on a win streak until they came up against the Nuggets. And they are the 6th seed, it looks like, in the East. They have a winning. They're 35-29, so they have
a playing team.
Well, no, not yet.
I know
they're up and coming though, and Cade Cunningham has had a monster year. I was talking to Ryan about it the other day, and we in our debate, he mentioned, he compared the numbers. Cunningham has a slight better number, but to your point, Brown has uplifted his team with his play. Like, he has better numbers than KCP, and he's younger. I'm a little worried that the Nuggets aren't going to be able to sign him without going into the second apron. There's going to have to be there's going to be some changes in the Denver Nuggets organization next year. Some of our favorite players are going to go bye-bye, so we need to be prepared for that. I mean, it just is what it is. I don't think the ownership, through trade, through they're going to have to release some guys.
Because right now, I don't know, it's not looking good for Michael Porter Jr. A lot of people, around here, in Denver, a lot of people is not really happy with him.
I don't mind MPJ.
His attitude.
I don't mind MPJ. I was one of those people that wanted him gone for a while. It took a while for him to grow on me, but now he is a piece. Like, if he continues to get double doubles, and even like some of the passing that he did today, and in the last game where the Nuggets played, he has shown that he can be an integral part on here. But the problem is that I guarantee you the Nuggets will feel like they can get his production of scoring from 2 or 3 different pieces without having to pay somebody $247 million because he's an expensive piece. But they may be able to make some moves. Like Najee has been playing really, really well, so he's upped his value as long as he continues to play well. He upped his value. Pickett is another tradable piece. I don't want to trade him. I like that kid. He's been playing really, really, really well.
What do you guys think you guys need, like, for, like, you know, we're just going, like, fast forward into, like, the off season.
Going
like,
into next season?
Yeah, like, as far as your depth chart, you know, you guys need wings or, you know.
We need bench scoring. The Nuggets need bench scoring.
Okay.
I thought with Russell Westbrook coming here, and to a certain extent it has, but his production has been better with the starters than it has with the bench.
Because he's going to be a free agent.
He is. I think he only signed this 1 year.
Right.
And he you know, I would not be mad if they brought him back next year. Kind of like a DJ type deal. You know what I mean? I would not be mad if they brought him back. Russell Westbrook has played very, very well, and I was not a person that wanted him signed here. But obviously, Jokic, the savant, the god of basketball,
he's going to be
knows way better than I do, and he wanted him here. So,
like, start next year and moving forward with Russell Westbrook, it's going to be. See, the thing is, he already got into this. I'm a bench player type. You know, he accepted that. You know, to further his career. You know, so I think whoever gets him is going to you know. You know, with the Lakers, I mean, I wouldn't take him, but the thing is, with us, he was struggling with that,
right?
And then a little bit when he got to the Clippers.
Well, because his game at that time was still at a high level. I mean, his game right now is still at a high level,
right?
Even though he's missing, you know, some shots. His game is still at a very high level. It's incredible how this guy has a motor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
no,
the way he plays so recklessly and all throughout the game.
Age.
At any age. Like, I mean, this guy, I mean, I remember when he played for Oklahoma City, he used to do that. He was so quick. His mind is so quick. It's like he's like the exact opposite of Jokic, but they both have the same playing style. It's just that Westbrook is the speedy version and Jokic is the slow, methodical player. You know what I'm saying? Like, he still makes the same decisions in that quick time. It's just that Russell Westbrook is making them while running, you know, 47 miles per hour towards the rim. And sometimes he leaves the ball behind him, which aggravates me as a Nuggets fan. But hey, you got to take that with him.
Like we was talking earlier about the Joker, and that's like you know, his triple,
his double, triple, double.
You know, I think that pretty much put him, like, you know, I don't like jumping ahead of myself, which I do a lot, but you know, but I think because we always, you know, during the annals of history, you know, especially NBA history, we talk about like who's your top 5 all-time centers, and you know, Shaq, Kareem, Wilt, Russell. You always had, you could throw in Hakeem too, you know, but I think Joker is doing stuff that, you know,
nobody's ever done.
Right.
30, 20, and 20.
I think.
I mean, actually, it was 31, 22, and 20, but still, or in 21, I should say.
And plus, he got a ring too. So right now, I'm putting Joker in my top 5 all-time great centers.
He's got to be in the top 3 at this point, but he still has a long way to go with his career. He still has some years. But I mean, that's big. That's big. That's big love coming from a Laker. You know.
I mean,
y'all have had the likes of Shaq and Kareem and Vlade Divac and you know,
Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
And you know, but
he's definitely in the top 5. I would say in the top 3. The fact that he could finish in the top 5 in all categories of scoring, assists, and rebounds. This year, he's averaging a triple-double.
He's a unicorn, man. It's like something.
He's not from this planet, bro.
Like when I seen Shaq, I was like, oh my God. To this day, I don't think nobody can get with his physicality. You know, and the thing is, Joker, you know, brings a different, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as the passing. He
reminds me of like 3 separate players in one. Yeah. And stop me if I'm wrong. but he reminds me of an Elijah Wan mixed with a Shaq, and then you can throw in with the assist, like a Vlade Divac. Like, he's all of those players, and the three-point shooting of Vlade Divac, because a lot of people forget that Vlade was a very savvy three-point shooter.
Once he left Charlotte after he got traded to the Lakers, when he got to the Kings, that's when he started shooting.
Right, but the fact is that he could shoot.
He could.
He could very well shoot.
He was never told to do that in L.A.,
Well, they didn't need him to.
They didn't need him to.
That's not the way they played at the time.
Especially Dale Harris.
But if he had played in that Kobe time, that's exactly how they played. He would have fit perfectly in that scheme. But anyways, I feel like Jokic you could even throw up in a David Robinson in there. You know what I'm saying? Like he just has this way of being all of those players, and you can see it on the court every play that he does. It's not that I don't like SGA. I think SGA is a phenomenal player. He's very savvy. He's definitely, arguably, the best guard in the league. He's the best at his position. The man is averaging 33 points, my guy. He's gotten 11 50-point games. He's got like 20-something 40-point games. It's just like, come on, man.
It's a lot of
I give it to
talent, and the only thing I just want just this talent to just continue blossom. Like and Edwards and Luka and all them, because I know it was a little topic that came up a week ago about who's going to be the new face of the league. I'm pretty much you heard
and
that.
They were saying that Ant Edwards was going to be the new face.
He didn't want it.
Well,
he said he didn't want it.
Well,
I
don't think he was going to be the face anyway.
I don't know.
He's going to be the new mouth of the league.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then Stephen A. Smith.
He's gonna have the same. I don't mean just real quick, because I do want to talk about Stephen A. Smith and his little beef with LeBron, but when it comes to oh man, I lost my whole train of thought. Because I did want to get into that whole LeBron Stephen A. thing. I was going to bring that up. We only got about 12 minutes left, so I definitely want to dig into that. But who the hell were we just talking about?
We're talking about Anthony Edwards?
Oh, yes, Anthony Edwards. Thank you. So Anthony Edwards, to me, is going to have the same career trajectory as like a James Harden. He's going to be an excellent scorer in this league. Fairly good defender, except for he's a better defender than James Harden. But what I mean is he's going to get teams all the way almost to that mountaintop, and then you're not going to make it to the summit. Like, period. I just don't see it. The fact that Minnesota is in the area of play-in right now, right? They're still in that area.
I think they're in like the eighth.
They're in seventh.
Oh, seventh.
They're in seventh place right now.
I'm still trying to figure out what went
just
wrong.
Barely above the Clippers, Sacramento, and Dallas.
So do you feel that Karl Anthony Towns did play a vital role for the Minutes? Because right now they know how they looked last year.
I think they'd be in the same position right now as if they had Towns right now. I do.
So I'm still trying to figure out the struggles with Minnesota.
I think that they went a little all in, too much on all of the talent they valued. Unlike when their GM was here in Denver, the ownership in Denver didn't allow him to just collect, creme de la creme players like Minnesota has allowed him to do, right? And that has backfired on him significantly. Because they're close, if not already, into the second apron. If they're not this year, they're going to be next year. I've been saying this on this show for the past year that this was going to happen. They were going to have to make some changes. They had way too many people, way too many guys that did the same things, right? Mm-hmm. And they needed to trade some of those away, but to them in Minnesota, their GM was like, no, these are the pieces that we need to win. And, now you're in 7th place in the West. There's less than 20 games left. There's no way. They could climb past Houston. That's about the furthest they could go. Maybe Memphis. So they could get into that 4th spot, but they would have to make a run, like an 8 to 10 game run right now to do it.
Yeah, that's going to be impossible with like a month to go.
Well, let's look at their schedule. Let's see, because
they don't have a bad schedule.
Let's see, because I know the Nuggets play them here soon. And they've beaten up on the Nuggets every. So we play they play the Nuggets next Wednesday. And they're okay. I'll give them this. They're on a 4-game win streak. Is that just 4 games? Well, at least in the month of March, they've won 4 straight. Phoenix, Philly, Charlotte, and Miami. So they beat up on some bottom feeders. They do have San Antonio on Sunday or today. So they play San Antonio today. They play the Nuggets on the 12th. They play Orlando on the 14th. Then they got Utah, Indianapolis, New Orleans, Indianapolis, Phoenix, and Detroit. Ooh. So they actually do have a path.
Yeah.
They have a path to do a 8 to 10 game run. That sucks for the West because the only 3 tough teams in there, really, maybe 4. Okay, Orlando's a playoff team, so is Detroit. Phoenix is not. New Orleans, where's New Orleans? They're not in there either, right? No. Yeah, I didn't think so. But they're still a tough team. San Antonio, then Utah is definitely not. Indiana is a playoff team. So they have a few, should be tough games, but they're winnable games. But the bottom line is that their formula of let's keep everybody.
Can't do that no more.
Can't do it, man. And they ended up trading Towns because they had to. There was no way that they were going to be able to re-sign him.
Whatchamacallit? Nazi, what is it?
Naz Reid.
Mm-hmm. He's an unrestricted free agent.
I think he is going to be an unrestricted, and they're going to have to extend him.
I don't think so.
But how are they going to?
He might be another casualty. He might go somewhere else.
They may have to. They have to re-sign him. Or extend him. They could extend him, but he would have, coming off of a 6th man of the year.
Exactly. He gonna want that.
He gonna want that bread and butter, man.
Yeah. He got the accolades,
and he may be able to go, to some place like L.A., Boston, Milwaukee, Denver.
I'm thinking.
Not Denver because Denver's not going to give him a bag.
They're gonna have to give him something.
He's going to want his bag.
It's going to be a sign and trade. Because I don't think they can keep it.
If Minnesota is lucky, it'll be a sign and trade.
His agent probably can work. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's going to be hard to match that salary. You know what I mean? Like he's going to want starter money.
Right.
He's
if the money match, but
Well, I think he has some aces in his pocket that he can utilize to negotiate with teams. I guarantee you, Phoenix would take him in a hearturt. Phoenix would take him.
Phoenix needs some kind of resemblance.
Well,
of defense.
they need defense. Yeah, exactly.
They need.
You're smelling what I'm stepping in, man. That's exactly what I mean.
For next year,
they need somebody that can defend.
This year, it's just a travesty,
Because right now they are a wet noodle on the defensive side of the ball.
I seen Phoenix. They was playing. I think Portland Trailblazers. I was just clicking on and to see how and Portland ain't lighting the world on fire.
No, but they're not bad though.
But with Phoenix, they look like they was a top 4 team in the West.
And Phoenix, currently in the game, Phoenix has 3 of the top 15 scorers in the league. Maybe top 20.
And they like the worst, I think.
But they don't play defense.
They rank like dead last in far as like points allowed.
They don't play defense. They don't have a true center anymore. They traded away Nurkic, but Nurkic wasn't a defender either. Like they need somebody that can defend. Period. They do. So I guarantee you Phoenix would take him in an unrestricted free agency.
I don't even think KD going back there after.
Well, I mean, I think he's still got one more year, right? Doesn't he? Let me see.
I think he has that option. He can opt out. But once he heard he was in trade discussions, he probably was like,
well, because they couldn't trade Beal, and he wanted them to trade Bill.
Yeah.
He wanted them to trade Bill. That's the thing. I used to love KD, and I still do have a lot of respect for him. But this dude has tried to run. He's trying to be like LeBron and just run people out of town. But the thing is that Bill was smart enough to make sure that he had a no trade clause in his contract, and he said, "Go and put me on the bench, send me down to the D League, do whatever you got to do. You still gonna pay me.
That was ballsy.
You still gonna pay me."
And that's why Phoenix is having the remaining year they having, because of dissension. I mean, players are not talking to each other because the whole deal that went down. Booker and KD was like, we don't want him no more. After you guys lobbied to get him, y'all gave up your whole future to bring him from Washington. So I think it's like LeBron-esque.
It is.
And the thing is, as we get further along, in the NBA, as it next year, as it approach 80 years, and you start seeing more of these players, go away, it's like, I'm just happy. This whole, I'm just players like Harden and Curry and, Bron and KD and, all these players that basically, I don't know, this era, I had a problem with like the era from like 2000 and I would say 2012 to this point, for as like, I know player empowerment and all that stuff, but you start having super teams and you start having, stuff like that. I'm okay with a super team that's constructed like through trades, stuff like that. But as far as like, hey man, I'm gonna call you up. You want to come play? I never liked that.
Right.
Hey, you want to come play with me? I don't know. Let me talk to the GM and see what's going on. Because people talk about that. Well, Lakers had a 4-man in 2000, and granted, what I'm saying. Most of ours was through trades, like Luka trade. You know what I'm saying? Players wanting to come. But I don't know. That's just me. My son always called me a hater. I'm an old school hater. I tell him,
old head.
I'm an old head hater. I was like, that's, and I do. I try to give much respect to the new guys. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be reciprocated.
All right. So while we got another 2 minutes, I can't seem to find his contract right now. And it's driving me nuts. Yeah. I keep getting these stories about trades and this stuff. I just want to know what his contract is.
Well, as far as I know, KD has an option. He has a player option. And he heard about mumblings about them trying to trade him before the deadline, and it didn't happen. So now he's kind of feeling a certain way about the franchise. So he might opt out. You see what I'm saying? And become a free agent. Will he do that? Don't know, but it's a possibility.
All right, here we go. Finally found it on Sport. I got 1 minute. Sporttrack.com. So it looks like 25-26. He is still under contract.
Right.
And then the year after that, he becomes an unrestricted free agent. So they could still trade him away. Where do you think would be his best fit, though?
But do he have, after this year, because I know he have an option.
He has no options.
He has no option.
I think he picked up his option
to stay.
But actually, I don't see, no, there was no player option whatsoever. Nope.
So he has to get traded.
Yes. Yep.
Well, depending, at first people was thinking about he might go to Dallas to play with Kyrie, but the Kyrie
Yeah, then
injury.
Kyrie blew out his knee.
So Kyrie is not coming back until like this time next year.
I would say, excuse me.
He wouldn't be back till like March of 2027. I mean,
Could you
2026.
imagine if he went to like say L.A.
With
Not the Clippers. No, I'm saying like if he unrestricted free agency went to go play with LeBron and
Everything have to be okay by Luka.
right.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what's gonna whatever, you know, because
Yeah.
they went to him and said, "Do you want Mark Williams?" You know,
Right.
And he wanted him, but he couldn't pass it. But basically, they already said that. So LeBron and Clutch or whatever,
Right.
You know, they have to just, you know, hey, if you don't like it, you can go.
Peace.
We already got rid of Anthony Davis,
Right.
Luka. They said, Luka, you are the franchise. Whatever you want, we will cater to you.
Yep.
And LeBron's in the back like, damn, exactly.
Well, I mean, that's what they did to him for the past 4 years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They catered to him. Now it's time to move on. And now it's time to move on for us as well because it's 3:01 and we're overtime. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to download our podcast from YouTube, sportsphenz.com, or excuse me, Sportz Phenz. You know, follow us on social media at Sportz Phenz, and don't forget to follow So High Cafe on all of your social media platforms, especially IG. Don't forget to call in and get you some ribs, get you some food. Holla at your boys next week. We'll see y'all next week at 2 p.m. Holla, holla.